Hello everyone, welcome back to the series on Oracle AI Agent Studio Workflow Agents. So this is part 3 of episode 4 where we are going to do a deep dive into the communication nodes covering send email, and we will also see how it actually look inside the Oracle Fusion. So this part is getting released as part of this series which we are doing, and as I said earlier that episode 4 is going to have in multiple parts covering each of these data category, or not the data category, the category of the nodes which are available within the workflow agents. So this is the third part for the episode 4, and if you have not watched like episode 3 especially for the node summary, and then episode 4 part 1 and part 2 for the AI nodes and the logic node respectively, I would highly recommend starting there first, as they set the foundation for what we are going to cover, because that covers the basic starting from episode 3, although 1 and 2 are also the one which are recommended to get an overview, but they set the foundation to get and start from here. You can also watch this video and then go back and check those, because we are covering each node separately, but it is highly recommended. And if you're new here and not yet subscribed, I would highly recommend subscribing so you don't miss any update as part of this series. So let's get into it. Now, I'm in the AI Agent Studio, which you might be able to see. And what I will do, I will create a workflow agent, a new workflow agent, and then demo it. So I will just create this new agent teams, and I will say demo send email, and I'm going to select family for financials, and select the workflow agent type, and then I'm going to say this is to send email for communication. I'm just writing a random description for now, but make sure that when you are creating the agent teams, your description is full-fledged. I'll make sure that I am selecting the right LLM. For now, I'm going with the default LLM model which is provided, but I can check other models also. For I do not want to do it right now. I will go with default, and I will just say create. Now we are onto this workbench for a workflow agent. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cover this node as part of this video, that is communication. So what I will do, I will just, so before we talk about, right, what actually this node do, right, let me also talk about a little bit about this node, right? So what actually this node do, right? So let's say, imagine like your agent teams just completed something important, right? Maybe a request was processed or a decision was made, right? Or maybe something went wrong that needs immediate attention, right? So that's exactly where the send email node steps in, right? It's in that moment where the agent team speaks, reaching out to the maybe the right person at the right time with the right information. So whether it's confirming a success, flagging an exception, or routing something for, I mean, just sending it for FII kind of notification, right? So workflow agents can handle that automatically using these send email nodes, and that's what makes it very powerful. It because this is just that we have to send an email. It's how the recipient, the subject, even the message body, all can be pulled dynamically. I will show you how we can pull all the detail dynamically, okay, dynamically from the earlier steps in the workflow. So every email which we send, that feels intentional. It will not be like generic email which we're sending. It will provide some details. Now there are multiple parts of this email node, right, which we have. First is name, that is just a default thing which we enter. Then we have recipient, we have CC to which we wanted to do, and then email subject and email template. On each of these fields, you will see that you have this thing. Type this to start seeing context sensitive expression. That means we can have each field either have a specific value, or we can fetch those values from the existing node within a workflow. And just to give you an example how we will be able to fetch, as I showed in my earlier videos, that we have this context option on the right hand side where we can go and check the other nodes, other variables, or any other things within a workflow and select it from here. Now just to show you that it works, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a variable. And for now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say it's email ID, and I will say it's a string. I will just say create. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this variable first, to set initial variable. And then I'm going to select this one and I'm going to hard code my email ID to this just to show you that I will be able to select. So for now, I'm just doing this create. So my variable set node is visible. Okay. What I can do now, I will just say send email. I will add this and I will just say send email. And I will just, instead of writing my email over here directly, what I can do, I can go ahead and select that variable like this. So I can select the context specific thing. So it can be the one, let's say if you're using fetching a user detail as part of this workflow agent, and as part of that user detail you are also receiving the email ID for the given user, maybe a logged in user, right? Then you can use those values also as part of this context because they're coming as part of your earlier node. For now I'm just setting a variable to make it simple, but if there are any other nodes which you are using, you can use those node and have it fetched out. There are no issues with that. So likewise, you will be able to fetch, and then you can also write a CC, maybe another email ID which you want to put, and that can be other person email ID, or maybe another variable which you can set it up and then use. Okay, for now I'm just not entering anything. Okay, now in the email subject also, what I can do, I can just say that my workflow name completed, or maybe errored out. I mean, anything we can write it. It depends on how we are configuring our workflow agent and how we want to use this send email node. Accordingly, we can configure this. And then at the end, let's say I'm saying that this is a welcome email which I wanted to send to this user, right? So what I can do, hi, the email ID, I will just select from here as a node. Okay. So I'm just showing you that we can select the different nodes here also. This I'm doing a break just to have another line edit. Welcome to the team. Looking forward, and then I will just do break again, and then I will say regards, and then maybe your favorite agent. Okay, so I'm just writing a basic, very basic, right? But I'm showing you just I can fetch other details. Okay, if it, let's say it may be a error notification which you wanted to send, and if you wanted to send those kind of notification like success or email notification, you can check out my another video which I have created. Let me just quickly show you that video also, so that you can check it out very easily, where I covered that how we can handle the success. And so this was the video which I have created for success and error handling for the emails, which you can check out to see how we can use this send email node to be able to see details, how that works. Okay. Now, this is the one which I have defined now, and I will just go ahead and create this. Okay. Now what I will do, I will just hit run this agent just to show you that I'm receiving those email. I will just say go. So it takes that variable, then it sends that email. Okay. And now I'll show you that I have received that email. You can see I have received this email that hi, my name, welcome to the team, looking forward, regards your favorite agent. So this is how we will be able to send these emails, and this is how these emails will be visible. Likewise, as I was saying that I have covered how we can send the error and the success emails as part of the workflow agents. Okay, you can check out that video. But I wanted to highlight one more thing as part of this video and another use case specifically for this send email kind of things. So we have, let's say, any other node. Maybe let's say we are using agent node, and here in each of these node you will see error handler. Right, each of those node, whether I am this add as agent node, but if I add any other node, like let's say LLM, right? So here also error handler is there. So what I can do, I can have these send email set up out accordingly to have error handling. Although I have a global error handling which is available as part of workflow agent, but if there are any specific error handling which I wanted to put specific to the specific node, I can have those send email nodes configured out, and then we can select those nodes as part of this workflow for any node, and then those notifications will also be sent out if in case the given node errors out. Okay, so that can be another good use case if you have to use this send email. So that's pretty much it all about this send email node which you can use. Okay, so think of it, I would say, like less like a notification and more like a handoff, right? Your agent passing the baton to the human with full context in hand, right? So that's pretty much it. It covers this. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.